Seb, first day back, first day training back for the 2025 season. Just kind of talk about the feeling of the group out there on the pitch for the first time today, and just kind of some expectations here on the first day.
Yeah, I think getting the group back together. Everyone didn't really get a chance to see everyone after the final, so it's nice to see some familiar faces back with the group. We had a team meeting this morning just about our standards, expectations going into this year. It's always difficult to replicate what we did last year, but it's achievable, and so we want to make that clear to everyone who's part of the club that we want another one, we want to win again. So yeah, today's training, just getting back into it, getting a feel for everyone, getting in touch with the ball, a little bit of running as well, and then we'll progress throughout the preseason.
Seb, just from the beginning of last year, the message was more of we were so close, let's get to that point. Now that you've gotten to that point, you won the double. How does that kind of change with the expectations now being as high as they are, and how do you kind of manage those heading into a new season of just having that high level already and now being able to try and, like you said, replicate that?
It's just consistency, right? Discipline, doing the things right every day. There's going to be moments in the season where we have to face adversity, and that can determine what type of team you are in those moments. So I think just doing the right things day in, day out are going to help get us to that position again. And so it's there's no hidden recipe. We know that this is the most challenging league in the world. We know that teams this year will want to be the team that beats us. And so, those expectations are a little bit higher, but if we can maintain our consistency, it should be an easy transition going into this year.
When you started preseason last year, you were still bringing in pieces. This year, the core of your roster is maintained. I mean, the big players that you had last year are back again. How important is that just for that consistency that you kind of talked about to maintain it as you start this preseason?
Yeah, just using like Barbara for an example, she came later into the season, but to get her here from day one and go through aspects of the game that she can continue to improve on and grow is going to be so beneficial for this team. I'm going into like my third year. A lot of those core players and the players who have been around me throughout the 2 years, they know the standards, they know their expectations, and anyone who comes into our building, the players can drive that, and we can drive that obviously as well. So I think it does help. I think the only difference this year is obviously the expectations from people outside. There's always going to be outside noise. Last year we dealt with people writing us off, and we were the underdog, and we fed into that. And so this year, the expectation is for us to win every game, because that's what we did last year as well. So throughout that, you have to have this championship mindset of how you conduct yourselves day in, day out, and when you step onto that field, there's going to be people who want to beat you, and so we have to deal with that. That's a reality, and so we have to thrive as well in those moments.
We saw Marta come back to the team. Obviously, she was out of contract after last year's double. How important is it to have a player like her come back, not only just for this season, but obviously sign on for 2 more seasons, and not necessarily help you guys get to that goal, but to have that leadership also on the field during the training grounds and while you guys are playing competitive games as well?
Yeah, I think it sends a message to everyone that re-signing a player like Marta, at her age as well, and after the season that she had, it could have been easy for her to step away, but she still has that hunger, and she still wants to achieve more things here within this team and this club. So we're very grateful that she re-signed here, and when it comes down to leadership in those pivotal moments, she steps up. You could see that in the playoffs. You could see that towards the end of the year, where she was scoring goals that really meant something. And yeah, a lot of our players look up to her, and I think that's really important for us to keep a hold of players like Marta here at the club. And yeah, she's a club legend. You know, people come here to watch Marta and see what she can do and what she can bring. But for us, it's massive to have her leadership within this group, because you know we're still relatively young as well, and we want to show young players what it's like to be like a player like Marta and the rest of them. And so yeah, we're just very pleased that she re-signed here, and we can continue this journey with her for the next 2 years.
So the team had a really short off season. I'm just curious. I mean, after the celebrations, after the parades and everything, how fast did you kind of have to go into planning for this upcoming season? Because it feels like just a month ago, the team was lifting trophies, parading downtown Orlando, but a month later, we're here again, getting ready for the 2025 season. What was your off season like, and I guess what were the preparations like going into this preseason to make sure you have a team ready to go day one?
Yeah, I mean, it's the consequences of winning. I think we'd rather win a championship than have 4 weeks off watching the playoffs. So we've been there. You know, 2 years ago we were there watching playoffs, and as disappointing it was, you know, that fueled us into the last year. And obviously this past year, you know, getting all the way to the final and winning the final, I think we'll take a short off season. I think, you know, on my experiences as a player, you know, back in Europe and back playing in England, that's the norm. You get 6 weeks off, so you have a better starting point. You have a better foundation coming into day one of pre-season. I think the message will be, you know, that's out the window. You can't change it. Let's think about what we can achieve this year now. So, yeah, it's fine. It's cool. I had some time with the family as well, which was nice. I had a short trip with my wife, which was nice as well. But yeah, we're back to business now.
One of the big differences from last year to this year in terms of off season was the draft being eliminated.
Yeah.
How have you and the team kind of approached the college players that have now been able to come in? Obviously, you signed Zara from Wake Forest, but just the difference of, rather than sitting in a room for a couple hours and drafting players, where it's just, you know, reaching out and kind of treating them essentially like free agents.
Yeah, it's certainly different. It's probably not the American way, some would say. And listen, everyone's at different stages of the building their roster. You know, for us, it was, you know, we have a good group of players who are returning. We've got some players who missed a substantial amount of time out on the field. So we saw those as like evidently like 4 new players as well. And so there wasn't a big focus on the draft or a big, let's say, college football in that sense. It's not to say that we weren't watching young players like Zara who can come in and we can guide her throughout this next couple of years for her to be in a place where she's a first team regular as well. Like, we always have to plan ahead, and we feel that Zara's in a position where, you know, we get her in here and, you know, show her what it takes to be a high-end professional footballer for this team. And then, you know, further down the line she may be a regular, who knows. But we have to continuously look ahead, and you could see in 2023 we relied heavily on the draft with some really important pieces, but this year was a very different look on it.
So I know you guys are just first day of preseason training, but as far as signings, is that something you and Haley have to go over with? And are there any roster holes that you feel that need to get filled with some signings at some point during this preseason?
I think you're always looking to improve the team. Some do it with 5 or 6 players. We may do it with 1 or 2 players. The reality is we want to maintain our performances, and we know that going into this year we've got more games. You know, the back end of the season we'll have the Champions Club, which will be additional travel as well, and so making sure that we have a lot of players who can go out there and contribute to each and every game. And so yeah, we're always looking to improve our team. You have to deal with injuries, you have to deal with travel, you have to deal with, you know, mental fatigue as well, which is a real thing. So Yeah, we'll always discuss. We always discuss what we need to continuously improve this team. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But we're very happy with the group of players that we have right now.
You mentioned kind of all the players coming back from injuries, basically as new players like Simone. You really haven't gotten a chance to see her play. Just how important is it to have those players that have been around the culture of this team for the past year, that haven't necessarily gotten the playing time they need, to be able to come in and just fit right in like a new puzzle piece? Yeah,
it's massive. Simone, although she didn't contribute on the field, like off the field, she was imperative for us as well. Like just seeing her around the facility, and she already built those relationships with the players. We want to see her contribute on the field now, and so yeah, like you said, Simone didn't play much last year. Grace Chandler didn't play at all last year. Luana, Rafa didn't play much either last year as well, and people forget about that. So with those 4 players, although they've been in our team, and you've been around every one of us, we're hoping that they can get onto the field and contribute as much as any other player.